Pattinson is Bruce Wayne unmasked and not Batman for maybe 10 or 20, maybe 20% of this film, and a hefty majority of the film is him in costume.
Yeah. And this is a consistent theme, I think, with Batman as a character and in films in general, of how it seems like the Caped Crusader wants to be the Batman more than he wants to be Bruce Wayne. And so that is, in terms of just strictly screen time, that is lengthily apparent, and also in the narrative storytelling. And,
but also, I think that every Batman that we've seen so far has been insert actor's Batman. Ben Affleck's Batman.
I just wondered whether how that makes you guys feel, and whether it will even affect the film as such.
Well, the interesting thing is that
hello, darkness, my old friend.
Sure. Christian Bale's. Yeah.
Where were the other drugs going?
I never knew. I don't know. I swear to God.
Swear to me.
Yeah, Michael Keaton.
I think this is the very first Batman that it is not Robert Pattinson's Batman. In my mind, this is Matt Reeves' Batman.
From a directorial point of view.
Yeah, I think that he had more control over how I perceived Batman than Robert Pattinson did, is what I'm trying to say. Which is not necessarily a bad thing. I actually there were some things that I really liked about that.
I think one of the strong suits for this movie, and once again, not a diss to Robert Pattinson in a sort of weird way, but one of the strengths of this movie was the directorial mantle that Matt Reeves took on, I think, and approaching Gotham, which is the setting, the city that Batman takes place in, approaching that city, approaching that story, approaching the visuals, as well as having this sort of 70s, 80s noir sort of approach, this detective sort of thing that really goes well with Batman as a character and how he, solves crimes, right? He is commonly regarded as, his nickname is the world's greatest detective, right? And I'm pretty sure the very first Batman comics was called, if I'm not mistaken, I would need to look this up. I'm giving myself, the avenue for which I can be wrong, okay? I believe they're called the Detective Comics, right? Or at the very least, detective is in the name, right? So being a detective is a gigantic part of Batman, but when you think of the Batman films, just, in the past, in general, we don't think of Batman as a detective. Right? It's such a loose part to that character. When you play a Batman game, that's going to be a little bit different. There's a lot of investigation when it comes to Batman video games, sure, because it's a video game, but when it comes to... Have you played the video games? The Lego Batman games.
God damn it, Danny. Is that what you were imagining just now in your mind as you were talking about it?
I was thinking of the Arkham
of course.
games. Yeah. But investigation is still a major part of those games.
You're right. It's true.
But it's hard to make investigation and detective work interesting to watch that isn't just procedural television, but even then procedural television doesn't stay too long within, they don't try that hard to make investigation interesting.
Right. Yeah, I mean, most Batman movies, the challenge is how do we make this really complicated, NCIS episode, something that's worth 2 hours. Do you know what I mean?
Sure.
It really is just like a riddle, and they give you some clues, and you have to figure it out. You're absolutely right.
But